Let's begin the session then. Are you all good to go?
Yep.
All right. Welcome, everyone. Oh, I'm getting feedback through someone's computer when I talk.
Fluffy, I believe that's you.
Okay. Welcome to a region known as Mesotopia. This is an area somewhat similar in concept. Think like the Mediterranean. Some of you, many of you even, may have been around when we first conceptualized this region on stream. And when we did so, because of how in depth we were getting, I promised that at some point in time we would visit this region. And it seems that this is the time to do so. Specifically, within the totality of Mesotopia is an island, region number 6, called Mesomasca. Which is this island here. Our campaign will take place on, in, around other prepositions. There's 50 of them. This island. Now, that's not to say that, influences from the rest of the region can't show up, or if necessary, travel to other regions. Though the majority of what we're going to be doing is going to take place here. And I'll be creating a more detailed map. For right now, it's best to begin simply. That way everyone is on board, everyone's on board the right page, and we can grow the community as you all interact with it. And as you all ask questions, and my answers manifest, and we can add those to the map along the way. Because while we're certainly not living in Unga Bunga caveman days, to have a complete map of this place for you all as the average level 1, poo kicker down the road isn't necessarily feasible. But you do know the general shape and outline of this region, and you know that there are several cities that exist on it. Now, specifically for this evening, you all are going to be aboard a ship. Welcome aboard. Oh, I'm getting feedback. Welcome aboard.
Oh. Yeah, that's Fluffy.
Okay. Fluffy, do you have like a push to talk or something? Because I think I'm reverbing.
Okay, I'll see what I can do.
Okay. The ship's name is Lellywellin's Gamble. And for those of you who are around, you may remember this ship from our initial Mesotopia campaign creation called Thugs and Kisses. However, the name Lellywellin, as we've established here in the stream's world, also exists at least in one other location and possibly others, as we've kind of made a bit of lore on the side about this character. You are aboard this ship in order to travel from Kandor south to Mesomasca. Now, as a prompt for you all to think about, because I will be offering you prompts and ways to improvise. Maybe some of you know each other already and are traveling as either a total group or small groups, and you'll get together. But I want you to think of why are you going or returning to Mesomasca? Do you have friends or family here? Business? A pilgrimage? You're here to research? You're here to... Well, that'll be for you to narrate, as I'm going to start slipping into the roles of various NPCs. And I'm going to be shining a spotlight on each of you as we're going to go through a bit of the cast and crew here on the ship. And this is going to be an opportunity for you to set your character up, both for yourself, your fellow PCs, and also for everyone who's watching. Roger Twy thinks that this is prisoner transport. What did you all do?
Nothing.
I didn't kill anybody, I swear.
There is no evidence.
All right, so it's nice and breezy. We're above decks on Lely Welland's Gamble. All of you have come to know the captain of this ship. The captain is a very interesting fellow. Actually, we have a little token. Doc, can you throw the captain out for me here? The captain's name is Clickery Willowwick. And, well, despite how his token looks, he is middle-aged. I mean, of course, the sun, the wind, the sea does things to your skin, even to a tiefling skin. He appears middle-aged, and he has a couple unique features, Captain Willowwick does. He is a man of good standing and repute. Lely Welland's Gamble isn't known to be a smuggler's ship, although, of course, I mean, that probably takes place now and again. It's known to travel throughout the interior of Mesotopia, going port to port, delivering some cargo, delivering some passengers, doing a lot of odd jobs. It has actually been sailing the seas of Mesotopia for centuries. It's a very well-known ship, meaning that whoever's at the helm, in this case, Captain Clickery Willowwick, is a competent, capable man. He carries himself sternly, and he does have an imposing figure. A unique feature that you've seen is that as a tiefling, of course, he has horns, and of the variety that they're coming from the brow, and they are swept back. What you have noticed is that in the front, instead of just being jewelry or some sort of an elaborate hat, or at least it's part of it, he has at some point in time he had cut his horns and hinged them, keeping effectively a pair of binoculars between the two as a part of an elaborate captain's headdress. And so every now and again you'll actually see he takes his horns and he flips them down as he gazes from various points on the ship out to the horizon or at other points that interest him. And another interesting feature about Captain Willowwick as well is at some point in time, through, I don't know, an accident, combat, maybe he even did it himself, who knows, but the end of his tail is replaced by a 4-pronged hook, almost looking like a claw like this. Oh, can you all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I can hear you, but remember the players in the game can't see the things that you say like this, right? We can only see what's on the game board.
Okay. Well, no, the music went out. It's because I forgot to loop it also. So I was wondering what happened. Don't
worry. It's learning pains of starting a game.
As well, another interesting feature is the ship's cook. The ship's cook, as you all have come to learn, is very much dead. But that has not stopped him from cooking your all's meals. Simply known as Cookie, he or she is in the galley of the ship. And so long as ingredients are surrounding Cookie, Cookie makes food. Now, the rumor that you learn from the crew, and this could very well have been passed down for a great long while, is that Cookie was the first... I'm trying to remember the name of the cook on board a ship. Why is it... I'm derping out on that. You eat in the galley, and it's...
Steward?
I don't know if it's steward. Um, well, anyway. So this was the first cook aboard the Lellywellin's Gamble. And, many just refer to Cookie as he, because most sailors tend to be he's, but there's not really been evidence one way or another to discern. And he was so dedicated to his craft that he died standing up at his station, and he just never stopped cooking. Could it have been some sort of an enchantment placed on him by, a sea witch, a prior captain? Could it just be through sheer force of will, someone who absolutely loves doing what they're doing can just continue on? Cookie can't talk, but Cookie can interact slightly. And reaching for that extra sea biscuit will get your hand slapped by a spatula.
That is okay. I do not want his cookies. I want to know his secrets, and I will be watching him very intently and taking notes.
Okay. Now, there is also all kinds of other people aboard. There are sailors. But if you go down far enough, so we're on deck. Whoops. Oh. How can I make this a bigger picture? Well, okay. Hopefully you all can see the first interior deck here below decks. This is where a lot of storage is. This is where a lot of the supplies are, and you are relatively free to rummage about. Though if we go down one extra layer into the into the hull of the ship here, there are many other passengers that are riding with you. Some, well, think like the Canterbury Tales. Many are here for their own reasons. Some are religious, some are not. Some look like they've seen some combat. After all, remember, there's rumor of a war brewing between the region of Mesotopia and this Shadahar Empire to the northeast. And lately, you have been seeing more ships bearing the Shadahar flag. And in fact, Mesomasca itself is not immune from suspicion, as both the Shadahar Empire and Mesomasca, which is a major bottleneck point, an in and outlet for this region, are controlled by humans and tieflings. But for their own reasons, people are pressed here. You can find so many different stories. And it is within the people, the crew, as in your average sailor, or even within the officers themselves, that we are going to be introducing your characters, your curiosities, your personalities. And we're going to start off first, as we are you're in this crush of humanity. It's not necessarily squalid conditions, and everyone's not packed in. And while I'm keeping the presentation fairly PG-13 here, you can imagine, look, you have a lot of people, you have a lot of waste, you have a need to get rid of it. It's not being, everything is relatively sanitary as far as a ship of this era could be concerned. But there are a lot of people around, people are coughing, people are getting seasick, things happen. And in this case, you all are doing whatever you're doing, and Celine, you're observing the cook, you said, yes?
Yes, I was doing that.
Okay. As you're watching, from somewhere around behind you, you hear one of the crewmates going around and tap, tap, tap. Excuse me, is anyone here a doctor? I'm looking for a doctor, a midwife, perhaps. Is there anyone who can help?
That would depend on what you require. What seems to be the issue?
Okay, so your ears perk up, and as you're hearing as this person's kind of going around discreetly, sailor comes over. Look, I don't have a lot of experience with this stuff. One of the ladies in the berth is, well, about to give such. And obviously we want to make sure everything goes well. all I can do is, well, I think I've got some water boiling, because that's what they tell you need. But, are you a midwife? Can you help?
No, but I do have knowledge of such things. I should be able to help you. Hot water, good. Towels will also need to be taken to her because she's going to make quite the mess.
Oh, all us sailors carry 'em right here around our necks. Keeps the sweat off. I have that covered. And he takes his towel off and he presents it to you. You can see it. He's probably been sailing quite a while.
Yes. Good. If you have anybody else on board who is capable of healing, that might also be required just in case there are any complications. I would suggest for the time being, though, take me to where she is so I may examine her current condition.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Everyone, make way. This is an official. He takes a he takes like a baton and is kind of he's not doing it to like beat back oppressed people, but he's just making noise, clang, clang, clang. Now, for the rest of you out there, you hear and see this, whether it's a break in your own conversations that we'll get to, because these things might be happening simultaneously, or we'll fidget them together. But throughout the course of your own conversations, you hear, "Away, away, away, away," and Celine, you are given an escort by one of the sailors through the press of people here to a woman who is about ready to pop, and simply because humanity, not necessarily as humans, but as humanoidity. How about we put it that way? Because in D&D, there's a difference. Humanity being as such, not only does it sound like that there's a baby ready to be delivered. But in one of the bunks a couple ways over, it sounds like one's getting made, and so there's quite a bunch of laughter. A couple people are being voyeurs for either or both spectacles, and such is life aboard a ship. So
such is life indeed.
Here you go. You've been pulled away from your studies of this unique creature, the skeleton. Someone who, in its own way, holds a fascination. And how is this making you feel? Are you comfortable? Are you uncomfortable? Does this narrate what you're seeing as you're getting things? Things are supplied to you. I want you to take me through this process.
So after as things are being supplied to Celine, she is just quietly musing to herself on the things that she has seen. Whilst she would very much like more time to study the skeleton and all of its intricacies and the magic that keeps it alive and or undead, as it were, among other things, she is content with, at this point in time, with just being able to have had a glimpse of the creature and a chance to sit down and write some notes with which she can ruminate over later. Whilst she would wish to know more, for the time being she knows enough. Now, to the birth happening. She will... after having the hot water and the towels and everything like that, she'll put some below the woman to make sure that she doesn't make too much of a mess, because there's gonna be a mess. The other thing that she's going to do is make sure that the woman stays warm, and she's basically going to guide her very slowly and surely through the process of having a child. You know, when to push, when to not push.
Now, let's put the audience then in the role of the soon-to-be mother, and
okay.
So the audience, we're back, and we're being, a sailor brought us a midwife, a doctor. He probably said that he brought a doctor, because that just sounds better. As we're laying back and as we're beholding this person who's come up, can you describe to us, as this perhaps fearful, very strained, probably hasn't slept in a while, describe who we're looking at as we look up at you as you're getting towels and you're telling deckhands what to do and whatnot.
Okay. I'm guessing that'll be that'll be more on them. But as for Bobicus just asked a question, she is the sort of doctor who washes her hands before she gets them very, very dirty.
I don't think anybody washed their hands in these days.
Oh, a little splash of water here, a little splash of water there. It's not super disinfected, but
No soap.
So are
Well,
the
I mean, I
rest of
suppose
us
there is
around?
soap
Are we
with
able to participate in this process?
But would there be soap on the ship?
Your patient here, your patient here, apparently like Bob Arena, is shouting, "Someone fix this! Nothing should feel this bad. Am I dying? I'm going to die." So first off, describe who we're looking at, and soothe our patient.
All right, so you would see a tall half-elven woman, in very, very simple robe. She's not wearing anything that would pop out as strange. What does pop out as strange though is that her skin is very, very pale, like exceedingly pale. She is almost white.
Can we see your veins through it?
It's not so pale as to see veinage, but it is pale enough that it might make one raise an eyebrow. It's as if her skin's very rarely seen the sun.
Okay.
The other drawing point is through her soft facial features. Her eyes, which are a very, very vivid blue color, well, they're just that. They're very, very vivid. They're one of the main drawing points and are a very stark contrast to her face. Her eyes are a very sharp feature on her face, which is mostly soft. Now, to see this patient, she would kneel down and she would gently place her hand on her shoulder. It's like, "No, dear, you are not dying. In fact, quite the opposite. You are giving birth to new life. Now, I know this will be exceedingly..."
Shut up, darling. I don't need your words. I want I want you to give me your hand so I can crush it. And she screams.
She's like, I will, well, what we will do is this, as this is going to be rather painful. Celine is going to procure some kind of clean bit of fabric, and she's going to roll it up tight. I didn't know such a thing. That is impossible, miss. You're the one making the baby, and do you not know how reproduction works?
Where are you getting a clean cloth here?
Anywhere she can find one, even if it has to be out of her own stuff.
Didn't the sailors supply like towels and things?
Yes, the sailors are willing to supply their towels. They all wear them around their necks.
Well, this is gonna be super sweaty, but that's okay.
So I asked, are the rest of us in the area? Can we all participate, or is this just for Celine?
The spotlight's on Celine. If you all want to give some participation as well, you may. Though I'm going to be touching on each of you doing or saying something. It doesn't have to be congruent per se, but if you want to kind of drift in sort of a supporting role, you can do that.
Well, what I would like to do is stand back, about 30 feet, and as things are necessary, like the towels or as messes appear, I'm just going to prestidigitate and clean all the different items. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to clean everything that gets messy as it happens.
Okay.
that is a good thing. She'll be very thankful for that. But no, she's going to grab a towel and she's going to make her bite down on that because she's about to go through a world of pain. There's no painkillers, and we'd rather not her bite her pretty little tongue off.
Okay. What I would like you to do is twofold. One, I would like you to empathize some way with this woman who Barbarina here, who is very upset at her husband, and possibly even not upset at you, but of course she's willing to share her pain. And you need to empathize with her in some fashion. Now, as a little bit of a break for you all as players to explain to the audience here, each of the players have something that is called a background skill. This is some kind of a hobby, a knack, something that maybe they just picked up by watching family members who were in a trade or do something along those lines. It's not an official skill found on the sheet, so you do not get proficiency, but you do get advantage at it. Now, for Celine, I'm not prompting that you use your background skill. But for all of you, if you want to consider what your background skills are, you can solicit using those background skills in various ways, whether it's physical or mental. But in some way here, I'm looking for you to empathize with her through some kind of a skill, and then to actually go through the physical doctoring of delivering the baby. And so one of these might be a medicine, but if you have an appropriate background skill, or you want to modify or announce a creative use of a traditional skill found on your sheet, you may do so. So first things first, tell me how you're going to try and mentally or emotionally soothe her through mundane or magical means.
Okay, so the soothing. Let me just see what I've got here. It will most definitely be through magical means, because through the means of the mundane, Celine has due to her curiosity, she can tend to come off as having quite the stunted empathic response. So she would probably be more likely to soothe through magical means.
It hurts! Do something!
Yes, pain.
And she like looks over in the direction of the other noises and just goes, "You know what you're getting into? It's horrible!"
Oh, I'm sorry, but that again, I'm finding this really fucking funny. Celine, now this is a question for you, Matty, as a DM. Do you think resistance would work? As I imagine there would probably be some kind of constitution saving throw on her part, as she's, going through a lot of pain and squeezing out a baby.
Sure. If you can describe what you're doing, how your magic, like how you're invoking your magic, right? To everyone else, they probably don't see an effect happening, but as your magic flows through you, and it's the call of, it's a prayer being answered in some way, and so you would know the effects, and for the benefit of everyone in the audience, narrate this prayer. Come up with something on the fly and explain to us how your magic is working.
Okay, so, her prayer would be something along the lines of a prayer of soothing to Ijas to ease her pain, so that she may bring new life into the world, so that there is more. Basically, if there's more life, there's more death. And the prayer is very much centered around soothe her pain, so that she may more easily bring the life into the world, so that there may be more death eventually.
Okay.
And she is going to cast resistance. To add it adds a D4 to a saving throw, but I imagine considering she's in a lot of pain and Constitution saving throws are usually saving throws against endurance, it might work as a bit of a painkiller. Might soothe her a little bit so she's able to get through it.
Bobicus, in chat, type exclamation point 1d20. Which either cast a spell that does something or screw off. And you go to soothe her with your touch. Stops on a 2. Okay.
Oh boy.
And so you're trying, and it's helping, but she's not having a good time. And there might be some complication to this birth. Now what I need you to do, you've tried, and look, she's breathing heavily. There's some mess being made, though you're not really concentrating on what's happening to it here. I need you, because it seems like there's some kind of a complication going on. I need you to make a medicine roll.
Medicine check? Okay.
At disadvantage.
Alright, whoop. Not zoom out on me. Medicine at disadvantage. That will be a 10.
Okay. She's pushing, and due to her lack of constant capitalization, you can tell that her energy is wearing out. She says, "Help, please help me," and she's sort of like even like passing out. She's on the verge. She has a cold sweat. She's pale, and she's trying here, and it looks like things are happening, but are we gonna have a birth or are we gonna have a death? And this is going to be we're on a balance here, and you need to put your thumb on one side of the scale as an act of mercy or as a show of confidence or something along these lines. This is going to be up to you. What is going to happen here?
Okay. So the cantrip didn't work. It's time to use something a little bit stronger. Use the mother's life to give the child life. Yeah, I mean, that is something. That is something that is. She's like, I unfortunately don't have the tools on me for a C-section. Let us think of something.
Quickly, she's fading, and the baby might go with her.
All right. I'm going to put all my energy into casting Spare the Dying on her to keep her from dying, so she stabilizes at least a little bit.
Okay.
And hopefully, whilst keeping her stable, she might be able to pass the baby through without too many issues to make the baby come out alive.
Okay. Do you want to throw that spell up in the chat?
Yep.
You touch a living creature that has 0 hit points. The creature becomes stable. This spell has no effect on undead or constructs. So, you're waiting for the moment. You're now, I mean, look, we talk about 0 hit points in a mechanical sense. In a roleplay sense, this is what you've been studying. This is what you've been pursuing. This is that moment, that liminality between life and death.
Life and death.
That you're waiting. And so you're there, and you know, maybe it breaks your heart, maybe it actually is just curious, and you're taking mental notes in sort of a clinical detachment. However you're doing it, I'm going to leave that up to you. But you're waiting.
Yeah, no, definitely
watching.
Clinical detachment.
You need her to actually almost die for this to happen.
Yep.
So, I want you to make a straight-up medicine roll as you wait for this second before death truly sets in to spare the dying.
Okay. Dice, play nice with me, please. Woo! 19.
All right. You're watching her, and she, her eyes close, and even though she's trying to push, it's clear she's lost blood. She's just so tired from the labor. And you watch her breath is shallow. She's more pale. Her lips are even turning a little bit like purpley blue. And you're waiting for that moment. And it hits. And you cast your spell. It's a touch spell. How are you delivering it? I mean, I know by touch. What are you doing?
So she will place her hand on the stomach of the dying woman and let the energy, let her prayer out and let the energy flow through her hand into the woman.
All right. So you soothe her, and she slips into a death-like, like a torpor, right? She's unconscious. She's completely out.
She's completely out, but she's not dying.
Correct.
Hopefully.
Your necromancy is substituting for blood, is substituting for energy. It's a temporary solution, but it's keeping her alive. Now, what are we gonna do with this baby? It still has to come out, and she can't push in this state.
Oh.
If this does capture, by the way, for the other PCs, remember everything doesn't have to happen congruently. So, for instance, Bright here is kind of in the background helping clean things up. If this does, Lancey Tay, by the way, thank you for the follow. If this is capturing, if you envision your character down, mixing it up with the steerage class, and you're down here, this is you're gonna notice this from all the screaming and the drama that's going on. Otherwise, if you find yourself on the mid deck or up above, then obviously this won't be as visible. So stay true to your character. But if there's another person down here in steerage and you would like to step up, you're welcome to do so.
If that's the case, then might I interject a little?
Please, by all means. Please, by all means.
I want you to imagine for just a moment that you, as you're trying to care for this woman, as you're trying to hold it, praying to Weejazz. Maybe you think it's Weejazz, who knows? Because there's something going on, I wouldn't call it a voice, call it an instinct. Something that just creeps in the back of your brain. Instruction, maybe something that you feel this need for your muscles to start moving, or at least like a command. Not something you have to follow, but almost like a guiding thought. An additional bit of knowledge maybe being whispered into you, just in somewhere in the back of your mind. Though it might be a little odd sometimes, speaking of it, the chain, finding its place, bringing it about, it has to be. You can hear it, and these whispers start to come to you. That is an assist in medicine.
Okay. Yeah, I would like to make a medicine check because she's going to need to think off the top of her head. She's going to remember, with the limited supplies I have on hand, is there a procedure that I can, is there enough around that I could scrounge together the stuff for a C-section?
Well, I mean, you're aboard a ship. There's no shortage of sharp instruments and blades.
Yeah, no, it's more the sewing her back up part.
There is. Well, look, they need to be able to repair. They need to be able to repair sails and even do a little mending of their uniforms. So, obviously, things like medical grade dissolvable stitches don't exist.
Yes.
But thread and needle are here. You just might be using some canvas to stitch her up. So, okay. So Jade,
she's using her awakened mind. Yay.
yes. All right. Ooh. So this other presence is crawling inside you, is hopefully stealing your nerves to do what you have to do.
She shudders a little bit and she look around in confusion as if she doesn't know where it's coming from. She's looking around. She's like, "Get me a sharp instrument, a needle, and some thread."
And one of the sailors, who's also kind of just gone kind of pale, and from everything that's happening, and this is a man who's probably sailed the seas for a while, and he himself has probably even split open guts of people who've tried to raid Lilywellen's gamble. Yes, ma'am. Just a moment, and he goes and hobbles off. This is happening. He's gonna come back, and he just has like a sewing kit, and he gets his. In fact, he even draws a curved dagger out of his belt, and he says, "Oh, I've slit many a belly with this, but not in this way. Here, I hope this will help. I keep it sharp."
It's like, "Thank you. The sharper, the better."
Thank you. Oh, hang on. I want to make sure I clean it for you. I do this every time before combat. And he hands you his licked blade.
It's like, it's like, saliva is not really the thing to clean a blade being used in the medical profession. And she'll actually wipe it off on her robes to make it as clean as she possibly can. And she'll also dip it in some of the boiling water that's there to try and kill off any of the bacteria, do at least a bit of sterilization.
Yeah, she'll get a magical clean on the knife as well.
Raphael's gonna look intently in the room.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, she does have to disinfect it with alcohol, although that does call something to mind that I myself had forgotten, but she wouldn't. She's like, "Also, get me some alcohol. She's going to need some painkillers after this." And with that, as she says that, she's going to begin the procedure of C-sectioning this baby.
All right. So I want you to make a medicine for this, and then and this is just to cut and remove. To stitch and heal could be a different matter. So make your initial incision, Doctor.
Yep, and this will be with advantage due to the guiding presence of the
yes
of the warlock in the party talking in my brain. That is actually good. That's a 15.
All right. So Bobina, or whoever this lady is here, is mercifully unconscious as the blade bites the flesh and makes a curve across it as you, in a sense, gut her. You remove you remove the child, and now you have an unconscious woman whose husband isn't too far behind. He is looking like he's going to pass out at any point in time.
Yep.
And now, the baby's out. What are you doing with that? And then how are you gonna put the pieces back together?
So sever the umbilical cord. Because that's the thing that needs to happen. And she will say to one of the sailors, "Get a towel, immediately put the baby into the towel and wrap it up so its face is still sticking out, but it's covered. It needs to be warm. It needs to be dry."
Okay. He takes the towel from around his neck, swaddles the kid. What are you doing?
And now for the woman who has a incision in her stomach, I am going to begin to sew. I'm going to begin to sew her up. Because as much as cure wounds might actually help here, it's a massive incision. I'm going to have to sew it up first before cure wounds is going to have too good of have a better effect. So I'm going to, if you would allow me, attempt a medicine check to
Yep. One
set
more.
her up. I've been doing good on the medicine checks.
Yeah, good rolling.
Okay. So you sew her up, and then you're going to cast a cure spell to help the incision heal.
Yes, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds.
Okay.
Which will heal for 10 points of healing.
Is that about a max out for you at this level?
For 10
Max
points of
was
healing.
11. That was a natural 7.
Yeah, natural 7.
7 on the
So-
D8? Okay.
You can mouse
7
over
on
the
the
digit
D8.
and it'll show you how it was calculated.
Oh, hey,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
All right. So, you can feel
Yeah,
that, you
no,
know, the potency of this spell flowing through you as you're calling on Weejoss for this miracle. And she is supplied in kind. Now the flesh, you've sewn it, but you know it does sort of pucker up, and it's leaving kind of like a red. You know, it's red around the incision, but it's not weeping. It's not. You know, it's not. It's just not a jagged raw wound anymore. It does look like it's sealed, but she's still going to be delicate for a while because of everything that's happened. Now, with that though, she is no longer dangling at 0 hit points, and as Bobina here is coming back around, she's sort of groggily, like her eyes aren't even really open. She's just, you know, where's my baby? And at this point, at this point in time, this scene, you have brought a life into the world as you instruct the sailor to hand the baby over to the new mother.
Yep. I will also ask: is there a first aid kit on the ship somewhere? She will that wound of hers, even though it has been healed, will need some bandaging, and she will need some extra care as she is quite tender.
I'll talk to the captain. He's the one who has to release the alcohol and any medical supplies.
Please
and so
do.
at some point in time here, you are going to have a conversation with Captain Willowick. Let's.
Okay.
Oh.
Just for the time being, I'm going to stay with the woman and make sure that she is okay.
All right. Let's hop over. Let's go to someone who wasn't here, and then we'll come back to someone who was here. Let's say Tazray.
Oh yeah, Tazray.
Tazray, where are you? And are you sort of on the mid deck, like on the in between where the storage is, or are you up above? Who are you talking to? Who are you? Are you throwing dice? Are you just Are you taking a pee over the side of the rail? What are you doing?
Well, is there a bar on this ship? Is there anywhere to get a drink?
I guess the closest place here, the galley is in this mid deck section. So if you want to drink, then you'll be here.
Yes, that's where it'll be.
Okay. So you go and you as a passenger can purchase extra rations of food or drink. So depending on what you want, like, do you just want something that'll, are you looking for alcohol? Are you just looking for clean water? Are you looking for vinegar?
I'm looking for some alcohol. Alcohol, definitely alcohol.
Okay. There's a basic wine that's 2 copper a cup. So if you wish to,
I'll put a gold on the table. I'll just tell them to keep the change.
oh well, that's kind of you. Whew. Looks back at the store. No. Reaches and we'll just simply hand you a bottle of the nicer stuff. We're not talking a rot gut. We're talking, at least mildly discomfort, gassy belly. And so you get a bottle of finer of a finer grade.
Okay.
The sounds of humanity can be heard coming from down below in steerage. Otherwise, there's other people here. There's a couple sailors that are walking around inspecting. On this level, of course, there's Cookie. And... or you could just watch out the side of a porthole and see the world pass by. What are you doing?
Oh, I'm gonna take a swig, and then I'm gonna walk my way over to Cookie.
Okay. Cookie doesn't talk, so what are you doing?
I've heard of some tales of people trying to steal sea biscuits, and I wanna see if I might be the first to try to get one of them sea biscuits.
I mean, if you want to get your hands, cleave it off.
I don't think Cookie is that rowdy when it comes to, but maybe a slap on the hand. I don't think they'll take my hand.
Well,
So-
find out.
So Cookie is at the counter preparing, and the skull just swivels 180 degrees to look back at you.
Hi. Cookie, yeah, I'm totally not here to do some stupid thing. It's totally not going to get me thrown off this ship, okay? I'm totally not going to go for those biscuits over there, okay?
It's a skeleton. If you're looking for a facial emote, you're not going to get it.
I'm going to slowly just kind of reach my hand over. See if I can, maybe it's distracted. Maybe I can try to swipe one.
The proximity of your hand to this biscuit, as it gets closer, Cookie's jaw opens up further.
I slowly pull it back to see if it closes.
Yep, it does.
I couldn't just kind of pull it in, pull it back out, pull it in, pull it back out before I try to actually take it.
Okay. You go and quickly, with a near supernatural speed, your knuckles crack as a cast iron pan just off of them.
I don't know. You didn't say anything. Right, I don't know how you can see. I totally sort of checking them out. Just trying to see they're good. They're good to eat. Average Japanese is tester.
And as you're there explaining this to a skeleton, it takes the pan and goes gung, 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 gung. And a sailor comes over, puts his hand on your shoulder. Sir, what are you doing?
Yeah, just trying to keep company. Just a lonely skeleton.
I reckon that you ought not to disturb our Cookie.
I mean, if his name is Cookie, is it edible?
Sir, come with me.
Alright. I got nothing better to do.
And you are escorted from the galley, which we'll presume is a little bit further up here. And you're escorted back. And there's a couple other sailors that are sitting at a table. Maybe they're on break here in the back of the ship. And a couple of them are playing a card game together. And there's a few others that he introduces you're introduced to. Oh, lads. Look you have here. Someone decided to disturb the Cookie. And they all, look over at you like you're... What are you doing? And, a couple of them chuckle noob or something like that. Now, I believe this lad here reckons that he's a strong boy, huh? Are you a strong boy? Are you looking for a contest? That's why you challenged our Cookie after all, eh?
Perhaps.
Perhaps. That doesn't sound like a man of strong will and conviction.
Of course it was the reason why I did it.
There. You can either be up here with us men, or you can go into the steerage with the women folk. I hear one's about to pop. Ha! Women. Always having babies and stuff.
Women are great, though, you know, the faces, the head, we're not going to go too deep in that. Yeah, strength. Man, yeah, man.
Alright then. Now, you're a man, but you're a dragon man, aren't you? Yeah, you got that mixed blood in you.
I'm also silver.
And actually, this is the prompt now. You have several sailors who are looking over at you, even up from their cards. And I want you to describe for the sailors, aka the audience over here, what do they behold? What did this other sailor drag over to them?
All right. Well, we have a silver dragonborn with some tattoos. He's got a cobra running down his arm. You know, he's shirtless. He's a barbarian. What's he gonna do? He's got a white dragon's head. Yeah, sticking tattoo white on silver. A white dragon's head on his neck, symbolizing what herd he came from. He's got a couple chest scars. You know, kind of the side effect of being a gladiator. You know, he's got like these piercing like white eyes. You know, he looks pretty. He looks big. Definitely kind of creepy, but he's big.
One of the sailors is examining you. Sit down. Join us. I got a question for you.
Okay, he sits down.
And so here we have a human sailor, and he's playing across the way from a tiefling sailor as well. And the question is such. He rolls up his sleeve here. I've got tattoos. My mate's got tattoos. And you see that the tiefling does the same, and it's like, yeah. How do you lot get tattoos? Ain't you got scales?
Oh, very, very, very sharp objects. In blood. And ink. It's kind of painful, you know, because they gotta really get it in there, you know?
Interesting. I'll have to look into that. Well, since you're showing yours off and we've shown ours, why don't we see who's got the stronger tattoo, eh? Sit down. Why don't we have a bit of a contest? Are you a gambling man?
I dabbled in gambling before, you know, mostly for shows, but I mean, yeah, I'd say I'm up for a gamble.
All right. Simple arm wrestling contest, officiated by my mate. Are you up for it?
Sure, why not?
What are you willing to bet?
It's fun. I'll bet 5 gold pieces.
5. And the two just look at each other and just smiles that like kind of even like curl up and around on their cheeks, almost like some like jigsaw puzzle puppet. Just you know, like the Grinch at Christmas when he's hatching his evil plan. Just like smiles that curl on themselves. 5 it is. Place it on the table.
All right. You know, he takes his little claws, and here his big claws, and he places 5 gold on the table.
Go on, match it.
Oh. All right, 5 gold.
And
there you go. All right, this is a goal.
The tiefling places 5 gold on the table. Standard arm wrestling. Nothing too fancy, huh?
All right, sounds good.
All right then. And you get up, and he offers you his hand. You know, elbow stays on the table.
I take it.
And you get ready, and the mate is going to be the judge here, and the contest begins. I want you to make an athletics check.
I would like to rage, if I can.
Yeah, sure.
Oh, all right. This means, all right, making athletics. Oh, that could have been better.
Okay. With Jade, Celine, and Bright downstairs in steerage. Downstairs we have a woman grunting and going, ah. Upstairs we have a man grunting and going, ah. Where is Raphael during this?
I'm heading to the top deck.
Okay, alright, so you'll be up above. Alright, so the tiefling is leaning over. You know, he's got his he's got his hands, so if here's the table, like he's leaning on the table like this. As your competition here is you know, you're going down.
Hey,
And as such, I need you to make a perception at disadvantage.
perception disadvantage. 4.
Okay. You don't see anything amiss. However, you do feel like as your hand is going down. Now you're not beat yet. I mean, you're raging, like you have this like last little bit of reserve. However,
Yeah.
there's apparently like a nail that was in the table that you didn't see, because your hand is starting to be pushed down onto the nail.
Ooh.
And now I want you to make another athletics check to fight back, but you're at disadvantage because you have pain in going through your hand and your arm right now.
Oh, boy. Okay. 13.
Luckily,
All right, so a 13. You start fighting back, and you're back to the neutral position here. And I want you to make now another straight up, like you're straining. I mean you're clenching so hard here. You're kind of staunching your own blood flow. You know, you've probably even clenched up so hard you tore a hole in the back of your underwear or something, because you're putting everything you got into this. So now I want you to make another athletics against this sailor as this arm wrestling contest continues.
20. Unnatural 20. Unnatural.
And now he goes, and now you, the sailor is twisting and he's fighting back. No. Ain't gonna let you win like that. And, once more, the officiant here, the sailor's mate, kind of, leans over, and, you feel maybe a little woozy or something. You know, he said some words you didn't understand, and I need you to make a con save.
Boy, all right. 12.
Okay. You start. The strain. I don't know. Maybe it like popped a blood vessel or something. You're kind of. You're focused. Like, no, fight must win. Make one more athletics check. This is at disadvantage.
12.
Okay, and he comes back up, and you're in the neutral position once more.
Oh,
You're straining, and at this point, a couple of other like sailors and passengers alike are all just like hooting and hollering and providing like wonderful noise and distraction and forming that like in middle school when there's a fight and everyone kind of gets in a circle around it, and well, apparently you're in middle school right now. So you're back up. Make another athletics.
All right. 21.
You have him down, and one more athletics normally. Let's see what happens.
14.
Ugh! And his arm goes down, and you even hear like a bit of a click in his shoulder.
Ooh.
Ugh. And at this point, his friend is laughing. His completely yellow eyes just close, his red flat, and he slaps the one on the back, and you hear as the shoulder goes back into place. And at that point, the other sailor is just downstairs. We have a woman who's passed out from the pain. Upstairs, we have a man who's passed out from the pain. As he's just like sweating. And he's like, "Ugh, yeah, take your blasted money. Oh, God,
Oh, thank you.
you cheater. Oh, it's that unnatural dragon strength in your blood, eh? Oh, gosh. Take it."
All right, take it. He happily takes it. He kind of gives the guy a wink, like, "Better look next time."
All right, so you can add 5 gold to your character sheet. I presume you took the 1 off before, and now you can add your 5 back, okay? I'm trusting you all to play accounting with your characters. I don't have to say this to you or anyone in chat, but look, if you cheat at D&D, I mean, what the heck are you doing? But anyway, so yeah, so you were down 1 for the wine you bought, and now you're up 5. And as you're leaving, make 1 more perception normally.
All right. Natural 20.
You hear the one kind of through gritted pain teeth talk to the human, talk to the tiefling, and say something about should have used a sharper nail.
God, I kind of look back. I was like, nails don't really sing. If you really want to get to me, you use a bloody dagger. Now that is a real man's challenge. I'm gonna walk off.
Okay. All right. So we've had this interaction now with Tazray. Let's go back below decks, and let's go over to Jade. Now, Jade, what you are narrating could happen before, during, or after the birth scene. Where would you like this to be?
I think after the birth scene would be delightful.
Okay, and where in the ship are you?
Below deck.
In the steerage with the passengers, or are you on this service deck?
With the other passengers, with the midwife, the thing that calls Jazz is what she calls. I'm watching, very odd to end up seeing somebody who ends up praying unto death. Very, very odd. But
okay.
It is what it is.
Are you watching the fallout of this birth? Have you sort of like slunk off someplace else? Are you where are you, or as you're having this kind of internal dialogue with yourself?
Me? I'm off where nobody looks. The place where they keep the sick, the infirm, the ones that everybody wants to keep a little bit of distance from. It's one of those things where it's healthier to just assume. It's difficult. I know it is, but I'm watching this woman give birth. I'm watching it, and I can see she needs help. We all need help. We all need help. Hush, little baby. Hush.
So the husband, those people aren't necessarily where they're keeping anyone who might have some kind of a sickness, sea or otherwise. Though if you're there to comfort the child, I mean, look, the mother and the father are pretty much passed out together from the pain. They're both exhausted. People have been coming up and congratulating, um, and there's a point of epiphany a couple bunks down, if you get what I'm saying, and a couple other people are cheering at that as well. And so you do have this press of humanity, whereas if you go a little bit, you go a little bit further back. That is perhaps where the more sick are, or people who are perhaps on their last leg because they want to go. They're returning home to Mesomasca because they know that the end is going to come, and they want to be on their home soil if they're going to die. So you do have some elderly, and you have some others who are in a particular section here. You're going to scamper your way back there and sort of hobnob with them.
Yes, yes, because that's where I belong. It's my people. My people are. You have to understand. You have to understand that these are the people of my home. My hoping for a good death, hoping to be there with family and friends, and that's what brings me on this boat. I have to be. Have to be. Baby brothers out there. Baby brothers out there.
There's an old man while you're back there, and maybe some of your dialogue isn't as internal as you thought, or maybe it's all internal and he picked up. I'll leave that for you to reckon out. Though there's a man who looks over, and as he looks in your direction, you see that his eyes are filmed over white, and he's definitely venerable, very long in the tooth, and he looks quote unquote over to you. Ma'am, excuse me, do you have a moment to talk with an old man?
I had a moment to talk with an old man, but it is now occupied because I am now speaking with the old man, because I did. I'm sorry. That came out wrong. She started to walk towards him.
There's no need to apologize. It's the follies of youth, you see. I heard such a commotion coming from down that way, and everyone has been celebrating the birth or even the creation of life not that far from here. And tell me what happened? How did it go? Oh, I had a grandchild some time ago. He's a man, but I mean, he became a grandfather, and it was wonderful. But unfortunately, with life came a death. Was that the case? I didn't hear the woman after a while. Birth is such a messy, noiseful thing. I'm worried. Did she survive, young miss? And he kind of like reaches out to try and to hold your hand or something.
Jade grabs hold of this old man's hand and brings it close. She almost holds it tight as she presses it against her cheek, this oily, undone mess upon her head, pressing against it, and she ends up kind of nuzzling into it just to kind of let him know that she's there. No, she's fine. She's fine. We made sure she's fine. The child was born. Very happy couple. I hope they'll stay happy. But...
Oh, wonderful. And you swear like a cloud dust and a moth just like came out of his mouth when he did that.
Jade reaches with her free hand to clasp hold of the moth, crushing it quickly. It's something that's not... No, she probably... Did she just act out? She just wonders as she looks to this man who apparently is blind. Hopefully he didn't see that.
No, and now that you look, you're like, there wasn't even a moth to begin with. But you swear like there's just this old man. Maybe he just left an impression or something upon you, but you swear when he went like that was the last that was a dusty wheeze, and a moth did fly out of his mouth, or did it? But anyway, so he wheezes. Oh, thank you. Your hand is so Your skin. Oh, not many people would have contact with a man like me these days. No, no. Oh, so busy. We have to make preparations. War on the horizon. Oh,
You're an old soldier. Old soldier laid to bed, yes.
oh, I've done my share of fighting for Mesomaska specifically, but no, now it's about Mesotopia. Oh, the homeland calls, but everyone says the region. No, we must preserve the region. Oh, my child, what of our customs and people? I'm so glad then that one was born, one more, who will learn our ways and pass them down when old people like when old people like us. Well, I guess you'll be old someday. I don't want to damn you to this fate. Not yet. But when we pass, there must be someone to carry on the. He's still alive, but he just wheezes.
Jade leans in close, so much so that she sees her hair lean on his face. She wants to be close, and she whispers under her breath, "Grow old. Oh, if that were possible. Oh, if only that were possible, my dear aged friend. My path is set. You understand this? You understand what it means to have a set path, yes? Well, my path is set. I chose it, and I can't regret it now, can I? I can't. I cannot. I am here, though, and do not worry for the child. I can assure you that child has far more coming than either you or I. I've seen it. I've seen it.
Oh, wonderful, my dear. Your optimism your optimism is exactly what is needed in this world at this time. Oh, yes, I suppose in a way. Well, my path is set to. I just wish it didn't involve soiling myself so often. Like he laughs and the man's face kind of looks like a jack-o'-lantern. It's all wrinkly. He has like 3 teeth and but you know what? Even though his eyes are blind and they're a little watery, he's smiling, and when he laughs, like you just see like a couple tears of happiness like roll down his cheeks. Yes, pardon, pardon these old man's jokes. I hope that wasn't too crass for you, my dear. And he kind of like gives you that pat on the cheek, like pat, pat, pat.
She looks at the hand that is pressed against her cheek, trying to be tender and soft. Then, when she does that, there is a thought that runs through her hand, and she pulls back as though this hand was not to pat, but to reach out and strike her. And she pulls away for a second. No.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have missed your cheek. Oh, I can't see. I thought, all the same. I'll tell you this, ma'am. What is your name?
Hey, Jade. Jade. Jade.
Jade. Almost in a he's not mocking, but he's rummaging over the name. Beautiful. Yes, I can see the color jade. I can see it. I haven't seen color in so long. Oh, Jade. Well, thank you. Another wheeze. Allow me.
If Jade may, she says and whispers to him and leans over. A gift for an old soldier. She presses her hand on his head, and for just a moment, she starts to use her own ability reaches in and shares with him. It's like sharing a memory. It's not really language that Jade communicates with when she does this gift, shall we call it, or what have you. But she impresses in his mind the crying of a child, the hushing of it, the miracle of birth, the sounds she remembers, but what she remembers may not be all that accurate, especially the chewing part. She offers it to him, that experience.
As that happens, then, so you have this blind man, right? And he's sitting down, he's kind of looking up as you're using your gift in this case, and you could just see the expression on his face as he's, you know, like he has that concern, like, oh, I'm sorry, and then and tears, like, and not just like, oh, it's a tear of joy, but now like streaming from his eyes as his face just, he seems to be mouthing words. But he's speechless as you're leaving these impressions on him. And for the first time in perhaps a long time, he can see. Oh, my beautiful Jade, thank you. I hope that this isn't the flashes that those see before they that they die. But it is beautiful all the same. Even if I were to expire here, I could die a happy man.
Yes.
You have an amazing gift. And obviously his words aren't meaning to twist any daggers, whether or not they do. But he has thanked you for your gift. And
Jade releases his hand, placing it on the side. Not beautiful, old man. I can assure you, not beautiful. Quite wretched. She starts to step back as though afraid to continue. She's afraid. She knows if she does this too long, she's going to slip up. She makes a mess of it. She makes a mess of it every single time. So it's best not to push forward. Just let the good man die. Just let him die, she thinks. And she stops herself. Don't think like that. Don't think like that.
His bony arm feels around and grabs a bag and pulls it over. For your mercy, child. And he rummages around. I want to give you something that has brought me luck in my own way. Please tell me you'll accept a gift, a token from an old man.
I need not accept it. It has already been given. She reaches her hand out enough for him to find it. To Jade, this is not something that she has to choose. This is something that has already transpired or must transpire, and so she cannot say no, for it will happen for it has.
And so he reaches in and he places something in your hand. And I want you to roll a percentile. 12. I do not have my DMG open. If one of you out there has a DMG open, hey, this is audience participation, clearly not me being unprepared. I want you to determine what trinket number 12 is. I'm sorry, not in the DMG, in the PHB. What is trinket number 12?
I actually have the PHB open in front of me because I was looking at trinkets earlier for something else, and
A small cloth doll skewered with needles.
With needles, yeah. Wow, that's actually a scary. That to me,
Yeah,
that
doesn't sound
that any better.
scarily fits.
That's perfect. That is literally perfect.
Okay. So Jade, he presses this he presses this doll into your hand, and he says, I want you to have this. It's it's probably a bit old and rather unique. You see, there's the weight inside of it is it's a small lodestone, so the needle tips will be attracted further inside. It will not harm you. You can store things within it. As such, a bit of a pincushion, if not a morbid one. But please,
Yes.
accept
Yes,
this
yes.
gift. It has brought me luck despite its looks, and, well, I'm not one to judge for looks. I much rather would have results.
Yes, old man. Yes, 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 yes. I will treasure it. She holds it in. She's actually doing so tightly, she may actually be forcing those pins a little too deep. And she glitches onto it. Pin for every sin. A pin for every sin. And it is to be passed on. Thank you, old soldier.
Yes,
I,
my dear Jade, and thank you for visiting me at the end of my life after coming from the beginning of a new one.
Old man, I have a secret to share.
Tell me, Jade.
She looks at him, and as she knows it, she sees him. Maybe it's an vision of his youth, maybe just how she would picture it, but this old man, rickety as he is, standing on a battlefield, a sea of corpses, fallen, dead, comrades and enemies alike. It doesn't matter. It is as far as the eye can see, horizon to horizon. The trees have been burnt, and there is a lone survivor, him standing with blade in hand, and she smiles a bit. But you, old man, the fight isn't over. Not by a long shot.
Yes, pip pip cheerio and all that rot. And he falls unconscious. He's not dead, but he definitely it's nap time for the old man, or for the old soldier, I guess we can call him. All right. What I'm going to do, I need to get up and take a little break. If you all want to do the same, we're at about a halfway mark. We started 11-ish, and now it's 1. So everyone, why don't we take about, I don't know, it's 1 a.m. my time. Let's come back at 1:10, and we'll pick up, we'll go, Raphael, we'll go to you, and then we will end back down below decks with Bright, and find out what happens as we're continuing to congeal the group. So everyone hang in there. We'll be back in about 10 minutes, and get her done. Get her done.